도와는 타전에 생긴 단계 산지의 공부 토벌기업의 주로 다른 영어공부 로드 타이 진행이 Lhawang Tashi 놈의 샤덤 이 진이 가서 봐봐요.
So in order to bring all sentient beings to attain liberation and enlightenment, we are going to go to the text which is known as advice given to Lhawang Tashi by Jamgön Kongtrul Lodrö Thaye.
네, 다 정말 나도 되게 중요해요. 뭐.
First of all, good morning to everyone. Good morning.
Good morning.
네, 다 정말 안 돼요, 여러분.
You all have the text?
No.
이 있는 모바일로 여러분.
You have it in your phones?
No.
Did you send to everybody?
가지나 진지로 저를 또 가지나 뭐 하듯이 망대는 말았다 기쁜 눈을 생각다 제방도 있는 우리는 그렇게 하는 이번 정도 대전된 다 공대 당시 방신 시인의 무슨 중앙에 세독상이 중에서 당시 생도와인 사랑생 아나 사이에 강도 표시 다배신 지달 지혜상 준이나 강낭이 시로되는 강이 승리 마다나 산재인이나卷통화마라통거지 노아까지 야리마스 그래도 차당하지 식 물론 물린 됐을 수장도 물든다 아무데 대화면서 일단 요즘 초음식 내리 장면 내리 블루스 세니 남의 이행이 쉬야 이라케냐 아기 망도 됐을 민중 수화지에서 요새 민용 소득이다 근데 그거 생각이 이사를 지을때 라마 되게 중요합니다. 인생은 똑같이 예발을 가슴이 예주 지금이 같은 게 탐식 인수야. 인도 사원이 예배 라마 되게 속에 아사리를 들어가 내가 상대다와는 당신 치매를 되게 당신 아빠나 웬인 신 초무르스 남포메나 웬바니스 라마 츄르 초무르스 스니 라마 산제니스 요즘에 도움을 얻는 계속 누구이 이와 시에도 방법이 시대 나오고 명문제도 담는 라무스나 이신 당신 기능만의 콘디션을 말로 다들 생각 잘하자 당신 마음을 만드는 줄을 세바 나도 통도 또한 사진가고 생각 최초에 맞는 로그인을 장보다 이로 출시되는 상심이 다 이들 자원이 가서 주는 어디를 생각하고 제가 마찬가지 있어요. 대여사 소환이 넓은 스텝은 정말 큰 도움이 주는 지금 자원은 많이 중요하다. 공부시에서 자꾸 명목을 이해하는 공부를 계획이 대비해서 명목동안 안지도 명목에서 동거리 대리 시로는 라생들도 많아. 다들 라생 소만이 생소만을 주는 공부자서 쉬워하는 생성들과 전반적인 시를 통일되어 강의에서 탐을 이어오고 있습니다. 그러면서 대신 너무 순발, 대신 너무 순발, 진리 순발, 이제 시발, 남도취를 출마하게 생기나는 관계이 있습니다. 알레, 인fin 시발, 카라를 말합니다. 나, 페이지 넘버 3.
The English text.
하간이라고? 인기 기획 넘버 3 난다. 민도에 3. 인칭 시발. 라마 인칭 시발. 포트라인. 라마 출 손목에 생기 나서 민도에. 이미 나오는데.
So it says here in the text, you don't need to search outside for the guru. The nature of mind is the enlightened guru.
Page? We don't know.
It's page 2 in it.
2.
In English.
Okay, thank you.
Is Moita coming back?
Okay,
Can you
fine.
come back? Because anyway now nobody can receive the email, so she can do this during lunch break.
But I think we mostly have it.
Now it's okay?
그래 인사 하면서 알아봐 이 빼셔서 좋아 이 주로는 처음 먹었어 빼셔야 생각나는 위해서
So since it says you do not search outside for the guru, the nature of mind is the enlightened guru, the same goes for the text. Do not search for the text outside.
Maksudnya malah repot gitu loh. Kasih. Ina pecha tamanus.
Venerable says, I've never studied any text.
Ina pecha tamanus naruwa. Ina sedih tu. Syukur kamu kanga. Nasan nabu tinggi igi. Mana tamanus.
Venerable says, in my whole life I have not studied any text written in black ink on white paper. After that he said, all the appearances are a text for me. So while we were looking for the text, Rinpoche read the entire text once. So maybe it's good if we can all read together. So maybe we can begin by reading the text once in English together. So you also
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, so we can read slowly. While thinking of the meaning, like it's kind of a meditation of contemplating on the meaning of the text. So I will read it slowly and you read it together with me. I take refuge in Padmasambhava, O Kajigurus, please turn the minds of faithful ones towards the Dharma. May we embrace the path of liberation beyond return. Atisha, the protector of the snowland, said, Among many, examine your speech. When you stay alone, examine your mind. Briefly, without this wise. The mind is the root of faults, and the mouth is a gateway for these faults to emerge. Thus, always watch for the world. All of samsara and nirvana are for the mind. They don't arise from anything else in the slightest. Everything such as joy and suffering, good and bad, high and low, are conceptual constructs of mind. If your mind is pure, you are Buddha. Wherever you reside is a pure realm. Whatever you do is from the state of the Dhamma. Whatever appears is the true display of wisdom. If your mind is alone your nature, you will see faults even in the Buddhas. You will get angry even in the Dharmas. Most things will appear as if they were your enemies. Expectation, fear, attachment, and anger will continue unabated. Such useless things will waste your life away. Whomever you associate with, there will be discord, and wherever you stay, it will be uncomfortable. However much you own, you won't be content. For everything you accumulate, you'll need that much more. Being distracted again and again by the appearances of this life, even if you think about practicing Dharma, you'll waste your life caught up in present activities. At first, when you feel a sense of sensation, you feel like you could be rid of each and everything you own. Once you become intractable, you cling to needles. At first, when you feel a sense of devotion, you won't think of anyone except your Guru. After a while, you will have no views. At first, when you feel a sense of faith, your spiritual practice will pile up one on top of the other. As you get older, all of this fades away. Whenever you find a new friend, you value their life more than your own. Once your enthusiasm fades away, you will be upset with them as if they were your enemy. The root of all this is not taking your own mind to be paramount. If you are able to make use of your mind, then you don't need to search for some other place of retreat. When concepts are absent, that is your retreat. You don't need to search outside from the Guru. The nature of mind is enlightened Guru. You don't need to worry about other spiritual practices in Dhamma. Being without distraction is the heart of spiritual practice. You don't need to deliberately abandon distractions. If your mindfulness is firm, things are spontaneously created. You don't need to fear that afflictions will occur. If you recognize their nature, it is primordial wisdom. Except for this momentary mind of yours, samsara and nirvana are not established in anything else. Please always watch over your mind. Unless mind is sane within, our antagonism will be inexhaustible. If you take anger within, all enemies on earth will be pacified. If contentment does not arise within your mind, even if you have everything you could want, you will be made like a beggar. Those who are contented and living always rich even without possessions. When you accomplish all some worldly activities, such as Dharma or the virtues, habitual tendencies arouse the most joy. This causes you to get further the higher realms. That is almost permanent is the samsara. When you look at the essence of joyful feelings, you see they are empty. And this is the cause for the path of liberation. Suffering arises from unwholesome spiritual activities. If you follow after thoughts and afflictions such as hatred, anger, and desire, it will cause you to give birth to physical backgrounds. To be born in any way brings us about unimaginable torment. Whatever afflictions or suffering occurs, by looking at the essence, they vanish into emptiness. There is no way for wisdom to work from that state. You must separate your mind from this, and always regard your mind as critical. The entirety of the Dharma is encapsulated in the guardian mind. The Bodhisattva Shantideva spoke of how to guard our mind. For those who wish to guard their minds, this is brought about by mindfulness and introspection. As is said, all should diligently guard their minds. I fold my hands in reverence for such persons. To practice in accordance with us, that here is critical.
That being so, the sixth collection of consciousness, all ordinary objects, are simply the magical display of man's nature. Thus, it is a mistake to think there is some end to practice adoption and rejection. Even to noticing things to the path as an equal taste of spring, for the beginner, let your view be high and your practice precise. As it is said, the human form with its disadvantages is hard to find. Thinking over and over about that impermanence, give rise to certainty about the infallibility of karma and its effect. When you see or hear of another's death, know it to be a warning for you. When you notice a change in something, recall that everything is permanent. When you catch sight of these becoming, no possessions are necessary. When you see a house or many senses empty, consider it as your own home. When you see others that parted ways with their friends, recall your own close relations. When you think something happened to others against their will, remember that such things will happen to you as well. Self and others and everything is the same. There isn't even the slightest thing which is truly established. When you maintain the natural state of existence, without falling or fabricating your mind, the emptiness of ordinary and out phenomena is realized to be a silent union of clarity and emptiness. This is ultimate condition. Migrating beings who do not realize this wander in samsara under the influence of dualistic apprehension. Limitless and unmotivated compassion naturally arises from those who undergo such. This is relative condition. Without grasping at compassion, realize its emptiness. Compassion, the spontaneous energy of emptiness, will emerge. Union is the essence of the teachings of Sutra and Mantra. You should engage in this profound practice. The method of having such things arise in your mind stream is to accumulate the wealth of merit, take origin to your own hands. Pray to the rituals, take devotion to the Guru as the vital point. Encourage yourself and others for the order of union, and however you can, engage in virtue. Do not separate yourself from the bodhicitta with good example, not from your dedication or command. The spirit of practitioner knows as the Thaye, an old yogi who does nothing but eat, sleep, defecate, composes the sphere of things for the nectar. It merges mind person whose magnificent qualities are the maximum. May your Bhagavad lives from Master Dharma and may you all benefit this instantaneously accomplished. Sarvanam Virasana. So the Buddha says now you all understood the meaning of this text. Because it is very clear. It's true. The meaning of the text is very clear when you read it. So this is how Rinpoche felt when he read this text, and he noticed that this text has two particular qualities. One is that when you read it, it is very easy to understand the meaning. And the second quality is that if we put this text, if we apply it in our practice, it has very clear practical benefits for our mind. So, yeah. So there is a practical benefit to our mind. So it can help both our practice of Dharma and our daily life.
Lhawang Tashi,
So the first thing to mention is that the person who requested this teaching his name is Lhawang Tashi, and the person who gave this teaching is Jamgön Kongtrul Lodrö Thaye.
di chini je kapso Jamgön Lodrö Thaye ki tija bachik na so ki de la tojong cheba ta tojong cheba ji ra sam na ni do chini ma sam ba
But Rinpoche says actually the way we look at this here is that this text was composed by Jamgön Kongtrul Lodrö Thaye for us, for each one of us to put in practice.
Yeah. So the problem is na sure ba Kongri tija bachik de ba na so de la ba tojong cheba na ji sam na ni do ta.
So Rinpoche says we should not think that this is something Jamgön Kongtrul Lodrö Thaye wrote and this is something we should study.
그래서 단지 나도 정말 대단한 것도
Because just by reading it we all pretty much understand it, right?
근데 인자다 소소 단계로 봐. 정말 단계 뒤자기 위해 something.
So we have to imagine that we have through thinking about this we have written these things.
때문에 개정을
So it's important to look at it in this way.
다다비 센데 소소 포커스가 다다 루트로 봐.
And then we will be able to focus our mind.
이마도 신바지기 뒤에서 나들 로준지기 있으디 가서 직 상담 때 이겐다 오시라 매대지로 다 소소 들고서는 다음에 이게 여러 다 친데레가 상담 단계로 봐.
So because if somebody else is reading this or teaching this and we are just listening or studying this, then we will not put that much attention. Then we will not take that much responsibility when listening. But if we imagine that we are writing down, we are writing things the way they are, it feels more personal. We feel like we pay more attention to each word.
가시라는 소소 뒤로 말하다. 다들 문에 소소 고추도 다 뒤로 일어나 정말 들어와.
So some of these things we might not be able to write them or compose them, but once we understand, then we can do it. It's possible.
네. 이나야 딱 이거 소소 말이냐 봐. 다 미기 다 로드 타이기 간댔습니다. 그봐. 또 뒤도 찍다 말해.
So before ourselves writing the text down, we can try to examine how did Jamgön Kongtrul Lodrö Thaye write it.
네, 자, 그냥 Jamgön Lodrö Thaye 거라 노디시나 간댔지. 그봐.
So maybe it's good to say a few words about who Jamgön Kongtrul Lodrö Thaye was.
Jamgön Kongtrul Lodrö Thaye 때 아니 디라 주급이는 준비돼. 유시레스.
He was a master who lived in the 19th century.
네, 다 유엔난지다. 뒤로 담바신 놈이 다 쏨쏨 멍쇼베레스.
And he was probably a master who composed the largest amount of scriptures among all the Tibetan masters.
네, 콩 펩차비 지라 베진한테 까지 지부만 베진한테 쬐용라 아베트 춤을 차요. 네.
So Rinpoche says when he was alive, during his lifetime, the Tibetan Buddhism, not only the Kagyu lineage, but all the lineages of Tibetan Buddhism were kind of improved and expanded and Rinpoche said updated. And sometimes they call it, he caused like a renaissance in the Tibetan Buddhism during his lifetime.
근데 인상 딱 콩기 소중집을 로마지로 딱 벽을 로마지 넣니 딱 주진다면 딱 상막이 딱 로마세고 근데 용이 넣니 딱콩 집으로 자기 있다 주지가 사기 괜히가 참아 변보다 제바지 로마 유니지 여러분. 네.
So,
주지 참아 로마 여러분. 네.
so all the disciples in all the lineages of Tibetan Buddhism, the source, the first guru, among the first guru is Jamgön Kongtrul Lodrö Thaye, the source of all lineages. And he was the one who had also who has the biggest number of disciples. Because, for example, if one Lama belongs to the Kagyu lineage, most of his disciples will come from the Kagyu lineage. But Jamgön Kongtrul Lodrö Thaye was not like that. And even he had many disciples in the Bön tradition. So his life story was quite extraordinary. He lived to the age of 87, and if we look at all the texts that he composed, we feel that he spent all his life composing text, because he composed so many that it would require an entire lifetime to do that. And then if we look at all the retreats he has done, all the practices he has done, we think that he spent all his life practicing in retreat, that he didn't compose a single text because there would be no time to do that, given how many practices he did. And then if we look at all the empowerments he bestowed, we feel that he spent all his life giving empowerments. He didn't give any teachings, anything else. All his life he was only giving empowerments. And same if we look at all the teachings he gave, we also feel that he spent all his life giving teachings. He didn't do anything else. And then if we look at all the pujas, all the rituals that he did, we think that how strange, probably it looks like he spent all his life doing pujas. So somebody who is not familiar with Jamgön Kongtrul Lodrö Thaye, when they read his life story, they may feel that it's impossible that one person accomplished so much in one lifetime. So if we look at all his activities, we think that he probably lived in a huge monastery with thousands of monks sitting on a high golden throne. But actually when he was doing all that, when he was composing all his texts and treasuries, he was just staying in a small wooden hut.
이 관계 꾸준히 나오는 때 simple life 세죠. 내가 보시면
So he lived all his life in a very simple way, the entire life.
그리고 충동 같은 때 참나 주야 뺀 내가 여성도.
And he was saying, he always said that since he was a small child, he always wished to do retreats.
그리고 공원 실가서 그냥 바운 거만 나와는 말이야.
And at the age of 20, he came to Palpung and became a monk there.
그냥 다 공부만 하나 다와 심하게 가르치잖아. 대 지금 이거 보라. 대는 또 보라. 미시 다와 심하게 너무 가르치는 대는 진짜 보래. 그래서 뭐 보여라.
And the monasteries, they have a discipline, so whoever is a monk in that monastery, they have to follow all the activities that all the other monks do, so everybody has to study the same text and so forth.
주제진이라 공부하는 시라던데나 그봐 다가 정말 주제진이라서 그러면 나라다 더고도 나지서 담보를 사긴 했어요.
And in the monastery, if the lunch is served at noon, everybody has to gather at noon and eat lunch. Nobody has a chance to say, "Oh, I'm not that hungry. I'll eat at 1."
근데 인자 근데 공기 가르쳐서 하면 참신이 받대고 근데 신대되나 아용서 말해 참을 대고도 근데 수들을 문제가 강한 참지가 참지 내려가지고 공부하지 않는 게 쇼데인스.
And since he wished to practice in retreat, and he found that he's not able to do that if he stays in the monastery, so then he requested permission from Kongtrul Lodrö to do retreat.
근데 뭐라고 제지다 페이스북 텔라마제스 상대에 그봐 한번 좀 약고 제주 근데 송송스 뭐 공부하는 송스.
So first, Kongtrul Lodrö did not give permission. He told him just wait a little bit, stay a little bit more in the monastery, do some more studies. No need to hurry with doing retreats.
근데 얘만 오늘 숨지를 뺄 값수 근데 양절 이상한 게 좋아지 주베인스.
And when he was 30 years old, then he again requested permission to do retreat.
근데 대가서 인수되는 것이기다. 저는 로숨은 한번 내는 되게래스. 로숨 공부하는 선수 로숨 내나.
So at that time, Kongtrul Lodrö gave him the permission to do 3 years of retreat.
근데 인상에 근데 공부를 해주셔야 돼. 바운 공부 짠다서 해주려 봐.
And then he went to do retreat in the hermitage above Palpung, which is known as Sangha. So that's what his wish was, to do retreat there. That was it was just a forest there. There was nothing there. But there is a story how he got to do retreat in that forest there. So Rinpoche would like to tell this story tomorrow afternoon.
Yeah, sure.
Because there is some connection to what is happening tomorrow afternoon.
Yeah. Then 다리미 강아슈인가? 얘마 뭐 중에 하래 한 가지 가정은 빼놓고요.
So a few years ago there was a tanka which was going around on the internet, kind of being shared.
tanka 빼는 거지.
An old tanka.
네. 태어나면 찌들 라마 쪼지요. 그때 이미 뭐 수인잔 하고요, 맞다.
And then on that tanka there is one master at the center of the tanka, and most people, nobody knew who it was.
네. 이미 뭐 까지 라마 쪼 기념이야 빼면 뭐요다.
And then there were many lamas around, and then most people recognized those. But the one at the center, like you can see, most tankas have one figure at the center, so that nobody knew who that was.
이 사실 이 베스다 이거 하고 민주와 민주는 파지 기세나 다 같이 다 로드다 인사했어.
So then when there were lots of discussions and people, those who were more knowledgeable about these things, they examine and find out, and most of them they said it must be Jamgön Kongtrul Lodrö Thaye.
가르치는 특히 이 얘는 오단도 참마나 아주 여기 주짓 참마들 라마 따진 거 짱짱들.
Because all the lamas, all the other figures on the Tankas were lamas from all traditions of Tibetan Buddhism. All the great masters from all traditions. So in Tibet, when they paint Tankas, they don't just paint them like that. There has to be a very strong connection between the central figure and all the lamas around. You don't just put some lamas on the Tanka and that's it. So yeah, based on all the surrounding figures, then one can determine that the one at the center is Lodrö Thaye. But the Lama at the center, he had 3 eyes. But they were saying that Lodrö Thaye did not have 3 eyes. So, so everybody is confused. So everybody feels it needs more research. And some, when they examined the Tanka, when they looked at the posture, the sitting posture, which was a little bit unusual, the way the eyes, the gaze was a little bit unusual, and also the head was a little bit unusual. So some of them said it must be Dolgopa Sherabjasen. But Dolgopa also did not have 3 eyes. And also he did not have that much connection with the lamas of all traditions. So the outcome of all the research is that it must be Lodrö Thaye, because of the way he was, even though he was sitting the way Dolgopa usually sits, but he was surrounded by the lamas of all traditions, and also the 3 eyes and everything, so they came to the conclusion it must be Lodrö Thaye. So because how they decided is because Lodrö Thaye did have many disciples. So since all the lamas were with Tanka, then it must be him. So then if they wondered why is he sitting in the way that Dolgopa is usually sitting. And this is because his view is the Shentong view. So do you know what is the Shentong view? So in 2024, when Rinpoche was teaching about the Heart Sutra, he spoke about emptiness. We talked a lot about of emptiness on the example like a table. So when we speak about emptiness, then the main view that we talk about is the Madhyamika view. So there are two different ways of understanding emptiness. So Madhyamika has two kinds of Madhyamika. One is the Ramtong and one is the Shentong. So since Lodrö Thaye was one of the main proponents of the Shentong view, and the Shentong view originated from Dorpopa, so that's why they figure out that Jamgön Kongtrul Lodrö Thaye is sitting in the posture of Dorpopa because this was his main view. There's a small story connected to that. So the 8 Thai Situ, Chogi Jungna. So he, at the beginning, when he was young, he was more following the Ramtong view. And then after he converted to Shentong. So it is said that he accepted the view of Shentong in front of the Bodhanath Stupa in Nepal. Because the Bodhanath Stupa is very strongly connected to the 8th Thai Situ because he renovated it. And that's also the reason why when the earthquake in 2014-15, I don't know, damaged the Bodhanath Stupa in Nepal, it was the present Situ Rinpoche that renovated it. So and the previous month, Guru Vajradhara Situ Rinpoche was in Nepal and he went to do a big prayer gathering in front of the Bodhanath Stupa, and Rinpoche was very fortunate to be able to join that gathering. So he says he just wants to share this. So the story is when the 8th Thai Situ was in front of the Bodhanath Stupa, with him was one of his teachers, one of his masters, Kato Tsewan Norbu, one of his main teachers, and Kato Tsewan Norbu told him that if he accepts to practice the view of Shentong, this will benefit many beings. And the 8th Thai Situ, because of the circumstances and everything, he accepted the view and said from now on he will hold the view of Shentong. So Jamgön Lodrö Thaye also he also practiced and propagated the Shentong view. So that's why in that tanka he was depicted in the posture of the Boba, that is the source of the Shentong view. So now about the 3 eyes. So just for fun he wants to give an idea. Not very serious.
다시 가르치는 것도 무슨 공부 무슨 로진 여러 단서 여러와 되게 주바이 인생이더라. 로진 여러 단어들이 그런 산진 넘버 오늘 뒤지게 산진 넘버 나오는데 이미 인자 네 공기 오늘 오늘 매나야 같이 주바이의 준비도 이제 진 내가 지루요. 이거는 다이가 되게 뒤지.
So he feels is the reason why Jamgön Lodrö Thaye is depicted with 3 eyes is because he is an emanation of the great translator Vairochana, who is an emanation of the Buddha Vairochana. So to symbolize that, then probably he was depicted with 3 eyes.
나서 근데 다 네 뭐라 아무데 그룹 배마 다치 심송과
So the first line of this text, it says, I take refuge in Padmasambhava.
다 나기 정든 전주상에 로카싱이나 깔로지나 가르송 곳에나 구루를 묻지 별 앞에 매나 별라 남빈 바퀴에 깔래가고 있어 예수
So Guru Vajradhara told him a few years ago in a teaching that if Guru Rinpoche did not come to Tibet, probably the Buddhism would not flourish in Tibet.
구루를 묻지 해나 신앙이 야하게 키바침목 다시 태우였어요.
Before Guru Rinpoche, there were some great Indian masters who traveled to Tibet. And they gave many teachings in Tibet. The Tibetans were not that interested. Definitely the Kampas were not convinced. And then later, Guru Rinpoche came to Tibet. And then when Guru Rinpoche came to Tibet, he displayed all kinds of miracles and all kinds of miraculous powers and manifestations and everything. So the Tibetans, they have no choice but to accept Buddhism because they were so impressed by his miraculous displays. So Padmasambhava or Guru Rinpoche is actually the one condition which was responsible for the Tibet to become Buddhist. For Tibetans to become interested in the Dharma. But actually just from somebody coming there and showing some miracles and people being kind of amazed by that, this is not enough to establish Buddhism, right? So actually the miraculous displays, they were just the first step, and once the people were interested, then Guru Rinpoche also taught them the Dharma and made them study, practice and everything, so that's how it became stable. So, and then due to these efforts, then they started to translate the Kanjur, all the Buddha's words. So it took almost 1,000 years to translate the entire kanji into Tibetan. So Rinpoche says probably they started around the 8th century and completed it in the 17th century. So at the time of Guru Rinpoche, then people became interested also in what the masters who came before were teaching. Only at that time they became interested. So they understood, they realized that actually the Dharma it is something interesting and beneficial and something that one needs to study and practice, and due to that many great masters later emerged in Tibet also. So Jamgön Kongtrul Lodrö Thaye, he first began this text by saying, I take refuge in Padmasambhava, and Rinpoche feels this is because of that, because Padmasambhava, Guru Rinpoche was responsible for introducing the Buddhism to Tibet.
Yeah. 그런데 그런 게 라면은 가르쳐서 충분히 여기 값을 봐. 아니 뭐를 rinpoche 환경은 거의 내가 배 가와로 배지기 요소.
And then the second reason might be what Jamgön Kongtrul Lodrö Thaye himself said in his autobiography. He said that when he was a small child, whenever he heard the name of Padmasambhava, he would feel very happy.
근데 Guru Rinpoche truba ni sudur peman inje sen lama ji yore chujo ka ko yo o tili lama ka wa de na ji je ko sare ke tili chujo ka pe le bi yo so.
So also while he was still a small child, he heard that there was an emanation of Guru Rinpoche, who was the ninth Taisitu Peman Inje. And when he heard that, he really felt, oh, who is this master? I have to go, where is he living? I have to go and find this master.
근데 일단 딱 그런 중국가 정도를 제가 대봐야겠지. 거의 실수했는데 다 배나 이거를 좀 붙이게 당 되기 때문에 저 린첸센도 스테이지로 보드 하나 붙이세요. 다 대공이 줄이 제가.
So since he had lots of devotion for Guru Rinpoche since being a small child, then later he came to compose the Rinchen Terzo, which is the treasury of all Guru Rinpoche's dharmas, which is about 60 volumes of texts.
공기 로
compiled. It took him 47 years to compile the entire Rinchen Terzo.
이때 이제는 니마 니도 둘러라 둘러 이제 새로는 좀 나와 이제 나와 좀 뭐라 그래 그래
And this treasury of dharmas, or Rinchen Terzo, was given by Situ Rinpoche in Cherabling in 2006, which we received, and it took about 6 months to receive all the empowerments and reading transmissions and everything. So that is the main reason why he begins by saying, I take refuge in Padmasambhava.
today insan tadi Lodrö Thaye kwangi chone de ba.
So this is written by Lodrö Thaye from his own side. I take refuge in Padmasambhava.
다 나서긴 나랑서 랑긴 문이 무릎에 맞다 제제스 같이나 야고로.
So it is also good if we write this from our own ourselves also. If we feel like this.
인사다 저기 뒤는 말해. 들었어요?
Yeah, so we should write.
Yeah. Okay. So sitting condition then, right?
we can recite the 7-line prayer to Guru Rinpoche. So we can supplicate Guru Rinpoche that make this teaching that we received over these 2 days may it really benefit our mind. So we recite the 7-line prayer with this in mind, those of you who have it. And then the second line says, O Kaju Gurus, please grant your blessings. So for this we can recite the calling the Guru heart prayer, and while reciting it we can meditate on requesting the blessings. May the Guru's blessings enter our hearts. Some of you know, right? Calling the Guru.
지단계 나랑서 추는 집에 가서 가족이 되는 왔다 안에 디자도스 들어가서 집에 있는 소소 생각하는 펜토요나와.
So in general, whenever we practice Dharma or whenever we study the Dharma, it is not very beneficial just to think, oh, this and this is written in this book like this. So it's not beneficial to think of it in that way.
소소 남김문이 파는 요한나 소소 남김문이 되는 제가 있는 소소가 되는 펜토요나와.
But what will benefit us is if we think that whatever is written in the book, if we ourselves contemplate on this, if we ourselves come to this conclusion. So if we do not, for example, like we did here, we recited the 7-line prayer to Padmasambhava and requested for Padmasambhava's blessings for that. And we recited calling the Guru from afar while contemplating on requesting the Gurus to grant us their blessings. So if we do not do it in this way, then we just read, I take refuge in Padmasambhava, or Kaviju Gurus, please grant your blessings. So it becomes just dry words. And that's why Rinpoche feels that by doing this contemplation and recitation, it has surely benefited all of us. So then the next two lines in the text which say, please turn the minds of faithful ones towards the Dharma. May we embrace the path of liberation beyond return. So this explains kind of the purpose why he composed this text. So the main purpose of us studying this text is also for our minds to turn towards the Dharma and for us to progress on the path to liberation. And then the next 4 lines after this, they represent a kind of summary of the entire text which follows. So in this reads, Atisha, the protector of the snowland, said, among many, examine your speech. When you stay alone, examine your mind. Briefly, he taught these 2 points. So here, there are many people here, right? So the first line, which says, among many, examine your speech. This is not so relevant right now. It's more relevant for Rinpoche. So we don't need to worry about this now. Then the second was is when you are alone, examine your mind. So now we're not alone. So it's better to change the words a little bit. So maybe we should say, among many, examine your mind. So for all of us, what is relevant right now is among many, examine your mind. And for him, what is relevant is among many, examine your speech. So you have to be really careful with what you say.
Yes.
Just joking. So actually what is the most important for us is to examine our mind. But in one way, if we like the way we're used to examining everybody else, you know, like what is this person doing, where is he going, where are they going, what are they eating, what are they saying, like this. If we just turn this inwards and start to look at our mind in that way, it will become a little bit difficult. So this is not what it means, to examine your mind. We shouldn't do like that.
Yeah.
But for example, when our mind is very happy, when everything is going well, if we look at our mind at that time, so if we look at our mind on such an occasion, then we will know what it means looking at the mind. So first we just sit and relax for a while.
아마도 몽뱅이 말았다 손으로.
So it is said among many, examine your speech.
그래서 다 샘나 가리 댕기도 말아. 샘나랑 깨야지 시시 가리 댕기는데 마비와 제가 다 같이 깨야 시험을 샘나 깨야 시험이나.
So we can try whatever comes to our mind. We do not say it with our mouth, but just we let our mind say whatever it likes to say. We do not try to control our mind. We just allow it to talk.
다 이제 가리시나 하고 temba 열어봐.
So were you able to be aware of what your mind is saying?
이제 가리시나.
What did it say?
뒤인다. 닭이 대단 봐. 아다비냐 치버도에.
So what is the difference between before when you were just resting and now when you were observing your mind talking? Is there a difference or not?
The awareness was different.
Which one is better? The first one or second one?
Second for me.
Second yada to do. Ready. Get a share of yada to
Second with us?
Ready. Second one better, right?
Yes.
Second one better. Oh, I see.
Maybe wrong question.
Money charisma no. Yeah, the best friend of the I think second.
Second is like our mind is like the best friend with whom we have been together for a long time.
Then me Mosheba Sabachi Nyamdo, yes, Kamachi Devata, Moshinimba, best friend, Devita Kari better Dulan.
So if we spend 1 minute with a new acquaintance, like during the first meditation, and 1 minute with our old acquaintance, then which one is nicer, the second one? Because we are more used to it. It was beneficial for him to hear our answer.
Because not guess about the
Yeah, he would guess is the opposite, that it was nicer the first meditation. That he was sure that he would answer the first one was better. It's beneficial for him to see this.
Yeah.
Yeah, he said he just felt that that's how it would be. But yeah.
근데 내가 좋다. 나중에 나서 나중에 나서 칸은 깨져 마셔서 와. 쌤은 깨지기도 와. 집에 펜도 친구였다.
But here we did not speak everything that came to our mind with our mouths, but we just allowed our minds to say it. So it says this, it's very beneficial to do this.
그래서 남중에 나서 쌤은 가르쳐 시작이 가르쳐 something 유미. 아주 내가 하고 좀 맞아. 때 친구 맛 받아들이 가가는 도 상에서 막 슈터봉도 좀 말아.
Because what usually happens is that we are not very aware of what's going on in our mind, what our mind is saying. Sometimes some big kind of important things we notice, but the undercurrent of our mind talking all the time, we don't even notice.
나중에 나서 쌤은 나서 한 깨지 시기 요요한 시에들 봐. 쌤은 깨지 시에들 봐. 시에들 가서 자기들 차디 가서 깎아 쌤은 깎아하고 쌤은 가르치는 그래서는 간시에 여가 수쌤은 열어와 쌤은 가르치는 얘는 쌤은 가르쳐야 상만 하거든.
But now when we did this practice like in this way, after we were able to know exactly what our mind is saying. Every moment our mind is talking.
이제 제일 가서 나서를 뺀주 가르치는 쌤은 가르치는 게 유명 가르치는 게 유명 일단 하고 옵니다.
Our biggest fault is sometimes that we have no awareness of what our mind is doing, what we are talking from our mind. So it is good to be aware of what our mind is saying. It's beneficial to observe that. So in the future this becomes important that even the things we don't say with our mouth, that we have some awareness of what our mind is doing. So this is pretty much what Rinpoche wanted to share for this morning session, and we will continue this afternoon. And if you have any questions, we have a little bit of time left. So it's not necessarily just a question and answer, it can be also a discussion. He can also ask us questions, or we can ask him questions, and we can share opinions. So if you remember, in 2024 we had a big discussion about emptiness. We all share our experience, right?
If I can share something, is about some days ago I woke up in the middle of the night, and I understand quite immediately that my mind was talking in really a very serious way, and I remained awake for I think more or less 2 hours, and for 2 hours I was a little bit struggling because I was really overwhelmed about this continuous talking blah blah of my mind, and I thought that I know that I have to be aware, but it's exhausting. It's completely exhausting. In the morning I was really knocked out because I understood that my mind is. She never. I said, please shut up a little bit. I am a little out of order. It's incredible how much a mind can speak of nothing.
맞죠?
예, 와. 네.
그걸 가슴을 나는 얘기입니다.
아, 네.
그래서 저기 뭘 가라가면 그러죠.
아, 네.
그래서 이제 눈이 없다. 그저 저는 샤마토바를
네,
그랬어.
네.
가슴을 나는 되게 그랬어.
네. 네. 다들 소소 감시와
Yeah, so this is a habit.
자기 숨지 말려면 나라에 대해서 중요하다.
Before coming to this, coming up for the teachings, Rinpoche also experienced something like this.
이네. 다들 제는 공부만 좀 할때 시에.
So please don't be upset if he shares this.
자기 나같이 주단 까마 껴마도 있어요. 주 까마 껴마도 그래.
About 10, 15.
I think so. Yeah. 근데 때문에 가방은 그지 고지가 고지 시야고 좋통.
So he saw one very nice Tibetan song.
근데 나도 지금 내가 내가 이제 그 그지를 간대요, 봐. 네.
Since he is Tibetan, then of course he is accustomed to Tibetan songs. He has heard a lot.
자기 시에도 시당 시팀 나 추동 가서 배팅이.
And this is a song which he listened to a lot when he was a child.
자기한테 통화를 나 배팅이.
So when he saw that, he was listening to the song.
네. 됐다. 그래서 제가 다들 나한테 컨트롤 지만 두면서 봐. 제가 나한테 걸려서.
And it was not enough just for him to listen, to watch this video and listen to the song. He had to share with somebody, so he came to my room.
생일 제가 되는 거야.
He showed it to me also.
네. 그러니까 camera 야구 차기도 와. 카메라 야구 차기도.
So the person who was dancing to this song was also dancing very nicely.
네. 얘는 나도 타도 시험 말이야. 네.
He doesn't know how to dance, but
얘는야 타도 배가워요.
he likes dancing.
네, 내가 나야 제스 공부니 되는데 제스 맞아.
He was also doing good.
네. 제스요,
Did you see it?
그냥한테 너무 그냥 다 숨진 노래도 좋아 숨진 노래.
He remembered, oh, it's time to go for the teaching.
이게 나도 나한테 딴 데도 뭐네.
But he wanted to keep looking at this video.
네, 제가 자동 체시하고 내려와. 네.
And he stayed a little bit longer in my room.
예. 그러나 저저 때는 요거 반도 왔다. 이 가방에 파샤 잡아.
And then he says, oh yeah, now it's time to go. So he went back to his room and switched off the phone.
네. 자기 가르치나 나랑 이 감시 친구예요, 봐.
So this is also because of habit. He has a very strong habit of enjoying the songs.
네, 컨트롤 집에 레나옵니다, 봐.
So it's not easy to control.
근데 지나 나 숨쉬는 노래인데 다리 제부여래. 정말로 대부여.
Actually, it was time for him to prepare for the teachings, to relax his mind, to just sit quietly.
이나야. 근데 감시기 다 컨트롤 마통소도 봐. 네.
But due to this habit, he was not able to control it.
근데 소소 감시기 소소 집을 당는 제가 많이 말아. 야 미생발이야 배대야. 뒤로 제보는 책이다. 감시제 표시친 거다. 네.
So habits are very strong. Habit is not something which only makes us do something. It also makes us wish to share it with others, to make others do the same.
대박이 뭐지 들어가야 되죠. 미신도 되게 미신 딸이만 이들아 시에 제자에.
So all this the Tibetan gorge songs and dances, he doesn't care whether people like it or not. He will share it.
네, 손은 좀 보여줘. 니 체를 찍어 봐. 체를 찍어 봐. 니 책이 모델을 찍어 봐.
So he's very lucky because
When is idea?
he can share with me and I can share with Moitza or somebody else.
이나야. 고생 지금 많이 가고도 와.
He's lucky because we like them. 네.
네. 대인사 감시세대 Nima, children, you are come to him.
So habit is something which we cannot just change in one day.
In the Pena, Masu Kamsil, you are come to the Kasu. Keep Tanka Jala J. Tanka Jala J. Then they did the Leela. She needs this dog. Emado, then Oma Bezango Pema said, telling the leg to Umara. Let Umara.
So habit it is like, you know, this mala, if we want to complete a circle of 108, we have to go one by one. We have to cross each beat, right? If we cannot recite the mantra one time and arrive at the end of the mala, right?
Oma ne pemi Lani Hora, the Lavadam.
We cannot say Om Mani Padme Hum and end up on the last beat, right?
Yeah. Jane also really comes really Jago the kitchen inside the Kamshi, Kamshiapo Maina. So the confusion is the new Tambana. You might take a Kamshi, someone and you are.
So if we have like a bad habit, for example, then we have to transform it little by little, like just a little bit each time. Each time a little bit less. We can diminish it a little bit each time, and by the time we repeat this habit 100 times, it will be gone. But we cannot just get rid of it in one go.
No, in a Kamshi, so you want Tamela.
So even for him it is difficult to transform some habits. One example is eating a lot and eating fast. Many people are telling him, don't eat too fast, it's not good for you, it's not good for your health. But he's not able to transform this habit, to stop this habit of eating too quickly.
Hima ni kadam bagi master tu sudah wal ni khusus ni do dia wal do napo guru cisha do kapo guru cisha tu lah jadi kan khusus ni shopping ni orang mana ni mana ada tadi semua tes mungkin cok jauh dah lagi cok jauh tekasih cuma sana. Tidak lagi doh, coba. Kapu juga saya cuma satu kapu tidak terkait ini monyong kan dicari kita tidak lagi doh. Di kanjeng dari segi kita mungkin nanti aku cerdas kita, jadi tu cerdas mana ya doh. Ini itu, ini tes ni mana satu dah, ini kesannya cari doh, ini tes napu deh mana ya napu deh pernah cuma ya bina, napu cuma kapu na ya bina. Oh, jadi sani kalau kerja ini, oh, sani mah, kalau tujuh napo yang tujuh beda, jadi jenis, right?
So the past Kadampa masters, they were known for doing one practice. So they had two piles of small pebbles in front of them. One was white pebbles, and the other pile was black pebbles. So at the end of each day, they would kind of count how many. The black pebbles would represent all the negative thoughts and actions, and the white pebbles the positive thoughts and actions. So at the end of the day, they would count how many positive and negative thoughts and actions they had. And usually what this shows is that when we start to do something like this, we will have more negative thoughts than positive ones, because our negative habits are very strong. But then, for example, what they would do is, at the end of the day, if they would have like 6 black pebbles and 5 white pebbles, they would kind of they would say, okay, tomorrow I will try to have 6 of each. So they would transform their habits step by step, not by saying tomorrow there will be no black pebbles and only white ones, but at least we have equal.
Ini tiada tempat cemburuan. Ini tiada tempat cemburuan tu yang, sosok kamsin dua tanggi ini lah ni lah. Ambil ni dua kaput sana.
So these were great realized masters, but even for them, they gave the example that we have to transform these habits step by step. They did not say, okay, from today onwards I will only have positive thoughts. Even for them, it was not possible to do like that. So of course for us it's also not.
Great. And then the phone number, you can touch more than the phone number in or the couple of some magic couple of some something, someone that never saw is and then the take courage in it. So, need some cheaper in Batan. Come see. Young, you want to come cheaper in the
So what this shows is because they did not say, okay, I will transform my habit tomorrow, so tomorrow I will only have white positive thoughts, white pebbles. This shows, one thing it shows is that we are all the same, that we all have the same problem, and that we all have to work step by step to solve it. So it also shows that, for example, for him, sometimes he gets discouraged because he is unable to change his habits. But it also shows that we should not get discouraged, but keep working on it. He still has the wish to eat less. He didn't get discouraged yet, so he has not given up on the idea of eating less. So now he wishes all of you to eat a lot.
That's what I think that they share enough in glass. Yes. Yes. I'm going to go on.
We can do the meditation together. Slovenian page 22.
Need to